Welcome back to Quad FM, where a card will always deep dive. This is a friendly, judge-free zone. The only one judging here is Jesus. Hallelujah. Amen. Praise God. Now, on today's episode, it is Tea Tuesday. If anybody's wondering, I'm drinking ginger tea. First off, for anybody watching, how are you? How's everybody doing? If you're doing good, well, awesome, okay, or fine, hit that like button for me. Leave a comment in the section below. If you're not doing so well, also leave a comment for me. Next episode will be Wellness Wednesday, and I may just talk about what you got going on Wednesday's episode. So, without further ado, I'm going to be taking two more topics I will be taking two topics today and diving in them. First topic is gonna be the inability to ask for help, and I guess the commonality of that, because it is quite common. And also being happy with yourself before trying to be happy with someone else. I'm probably gonna spend about 10 minutes each topic, just getting a little deep into it, because 10 minutes is quite a long time to talk about something. So, let's dive in. So, the inability to ask for help, that seems like one of those things that people just do because they have a inferiority complex. Yeah, learned that one from Need for Speed. An inferiority complex, because there's nothing wrong with asking for help. It's okay that people come together and work on something together. The inability to ask for help, it could also stem from ego too, because some people just have that type of ego where they think that they can shoulder every burden by themselves. And now, don't get me wrong, some people are strong enough to do that, because for a good amount of time in my life, I was that type of person where I would just take everything on because I knew I could do it. But there's nothing wrong as a good leader asking for help. It's smarter, not harder, You can work hard. I'm not taking that away from nobody who has work ethic and don't need no help. At the same time, it could be easier and quicker if you do it with help, Now, I understand some people have a margin in their head where it's like, yeah, but if I ask somebody for help, then I'm kind of susceptible to them and the way that they are and how they're gonna necessarily do it. Well, as a leader asking for help, you should direct people that you're asking for help, because if you think about it, you're asking for help on something that you're doing, not something that they're doing. So if I ask you for help and you come and you help me and you decide to do it on your own, then you're not helping me, essentially. You're kind of just doing shit. And now, don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with doing shit. At least you're doing something, because some people don't do anything. But just because you're doing something doesn't mean that it's progressive, so you're not necessarily helping. That could be another reason why people don't ask for help. That's kind of why I don't ask for help, because anytime I ask for help, people think that I don't have a plan for it, and they just assume that we just need to get this job done, when in hindsight it brings on some inconsideration, because if I ask you for help, your first and initial thought process should be, bet, so what's the game plan? What do you have? How are we going to do this? What's in your head? How are we going to do this, and what do you have planned out for us to do so you can get this thing done? Whereas most people nowadays, you ask them for help and it's just like, yeah, I got you, don't even worry about it. And you turn away for 2 seconds to kind of gather yourself, expecting them to want to know the plan, and they're already like diving straight into the task. You ain't even give them no heads up, no nothing on what's going on. So I know that plays into a factor of why people don't like to ask for help. Some people don't like to ask for help because they fear rejection. Some people don't like being rejected because nowadays in this cruel world, people just like to say no. They'll either like to say no or just ignore you. So it's one of those things where somebody might want to ask you for help, but they're afraid that you're either gonna judge them based on what they're asking you for help, judge them because they're asking for help, judge them because they're asking you for help, and judge them for asking. People just a lot. It comes into fear. The inability to ask for help just boils down to fear. If you fear asking for help, then there's something in your brain that turns you off from the whole concept of even conjoining with somebody else's thought process to do anything whatsoever. That just means that says a lot about two things: you and the person asking for help. Because if I hesitate to ask you for help because your reaction, that means that your reaction might be negative, and I might not need that negative reaction when I am the one here asking for assistance. Let's say I ask for relationship advice, and the topic that I need relationship advice on with a specific person, they rebuttal with probably the most negative you could say about somebody in a relationship, just having a moderate altercation with their significant other, and that's break up with them. If I know that this person is going to suggest that me and this person break up just because of their insight on what possibly could solve this issue. Now, any problem in a relationship can be solved by breaking up, but that does not mean that is the best idea for you to do. Just because something's not working, you know, everything easy ain't gonna be nice, you know what I'm saying? Or it could be, depends on your standards. But yeah, you could warrant a negative reaction to this person asking for help, or you can make them feel judged, and feeling judged isn't necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but that's not really something that you can avoid in people, because people are going to judge regardless. I don't judge out loud, but I also don't judge in my head. Whenever I judge in my head, it's almost like a simultaneous thought behind it, in where I somewhat think of a circumstance in which the decision that you made, by which I might have judged you for, makes sense. Which is why my favorite question is why. I just love to ask people why, because you'll never be able to figure out something from somebody exactly unless you ask them why. That's the best question ever, because it truly lets people know that you're trying to understand them. Because why makes you elaborate. If you don't elaborate, people can't necessarily understand, you know what I'm saying? So when you ask somebody why you need help, then you'll understand why this is important to them, what the process is, and or why it needs to be done, and why they need assistance, rather than telling them what to do or giving them a bunch of advice. I mean, that helps too, but it really depends on what's being asked for help for. But it could also be ego. Ego could play a big role in people's inability to ask for help, only because of the fact that some people feel like if they ask for help, it makes them look weak. Now, that is a weak-minded thought process, but at the same time, it makes sense. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense, because if I have this stature, if I have this demeanor that I don't need help from nobody, I own that shit. Everything I do, I own. So everybody in the world that views me sees me as somebody who doesn't need help, who can handle all shit on their own, and I'm like that, basically. And I ask for help. Somebody's gonna think I'm weak. But if you think about it, being afraid of looking weak to weaklings is a weak mindset. Because if everybody views me as strong and this person that can handle everything by themselves, and I'm asking for help, and you think that that makes me look weak, that means that that's what you've been waiting for this whole time. You're envious, and you've been waiting for me to look weak so that you can exclaim it, rather than thinking, damn, if this nigga is so strong, why he need help? What he facing probably tough, bro. Strong, bro. Whatever he's fighting against is probably like, he probably need help. He probably need help if he had another him. You don't know. That's why you always gotta ask why. You ask why, and all the judgment, all the assumptions, all of everything kind of just goes up in smoke. Cause I could be the smallest dude in the gym, and if I come up to the smallest dude in the gym and say, yo, you can help me with something real quick, everybody gonna be looking like, this nigga gonna do to help you, bro? How is this nigga gonna help you, bro? Who is this nigga? This nigga is the bar. How he gonna help you, dog? But if he just needs you to help him set up the machine because he can't reach or because he's sore, you don't know unless you ask why. Hey man, what you need help with? Why you need my help? You were the closest person nearby who looked like they know how to work the machine. You were working your machine, so I was gonna ask if you could set mine up for me. I can't really bend down. I just had surgery on my back. That's why I'm working arms today, though. Like, you don't know. You would never know until you ask. But if you were to judge this person asking for help, what the hell is he need my help for, bro? You're strong. He probably just a pussy. He probably just like a little weakling, bro. He probably acting all strong and acting like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's why I don't judge. I don't judge and I don't assume. I ask the questions that people usually don't like to get the answers to, but I ask all the right questions I want to know the answers to. I usually don't try to waste dialogue unless I'm getting to know you. If I'm getting to know you, abstract fundamental dialogue is quite interesting because the conversation can go anywhere. But yeah, asking for help is quite commonly frowned upon, actually, is what I was gonna say. Why? I wish I knew. But I understand at all. Sometimes when you have an inability to ask for help, and it's genuine that you want to ask for help, but you really have obstacles blocking the way, you usually have good people in your life that will see that. That's why it's important to have at least 2 to 3 really close friends that like know you and your tendencies, because somebody can see that you're struggling. Like one of your friends can see that you're struggling just based on a normal reaction or an action that you do, and that'll drive them to just come and help you rather than wait for you to ask them for help. Now, it's always good for everyone to ask for help because people don't know when you're struggling. When you're strong, people don't know when you're struggling. I know this firsthand through most of my experience. People don't think that you're struggling if you don't say nothing or ask for help. And I'm a victim of that. I usually don't ask for help because it's just like, God got me. So like, if he not doing it, then it's probably not in my books, probably not in my cards. So I'm not really gonna force it. I'm not really gonna push into it if he's not directing me to ask for help. It's kind of just like, I ain't gonna ask. It's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but at the same time, you know. All in all, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help because You never know who you can meet. You never know who you can meet. You never know the progress that you can make. You never know the process that it will take, and you never know where it will end up, because you could either accomplish it and make a friend, or ruin it. Yep. Fuck it all up. But don't be afraid to ask, because you'll never know. And you don't want to live with regrets. Regrets is a no-no. I needed to get some more tea, if you know what I mean. Ah, yeah. Ain't nothing like some ginger tea, y'all. Alright, topic number 2. Being happy with yourself before trying to be happy with someone else. Bars. Now, I really like this topic because it brings you into a realm of self-reflection. I feel like everyone should constantly be in a self-reflective state, because you can't change things about the next person. So you should be worried about yourself and the type of person that you want to be, and if you're really showing that person to the world. And I think that ties in perfectly to this, because before being happy with yourself, you have to know yourself. And if you know yourself, then you'll be able to be the person that you're happy being, you know? If you're not being yourself, 9 times out of 10 is you're going to be miserable being the person that you are in public. And I know a few people that do that, and they have put themselves in a lifestyle that they don't necessarily know how to come out of, because they've adapted the ways of the fictitious lifestyle that they thought they wanted to live for the life that they used to want to live, and they can't come back from it. They've been in it too far gone. Batman said it himself. Was it Batman or was it the Joker? You live long enough to see yourself become the villain. You do all this good, but how much good can you take while fighting evil? Because in order to serve justice to evil, you have to be able to decipher the two. Now, if a villain comes with morals and everything they're doing is legal, but what they stand for is wrong, are they really a villain? The way that they do it is legal, but what they stand for is right. Are they really a villain? Yes. What they are doing is still illegal. They can go to jail. But that does not mean that they are wrong. So that kind of goes along with it too. Just because they are living and accustomed to this fictitious life that they live, and they're not happy with themselves, does not mean that they cannot find happiness in someone else. Now, that is a slippery slope, because if you find happiness in someone else, if you find contributed happiness from someone else, let's word it like that. If you find contributed happiness from someone else while you're living this fictitious life, and or while you're not happy with yourself, you're going to be fighting more than one battle, and usually that crashes and burns. Because if you get into an argument with this person who's contributing happiness into your life, and you are not contributing happiness into you, then something's going to be out of sync, and it's going to be hard for you to get it back in sync, because you don't necessarily know what is making you happy. If it's this person, if it's the person's reaction to who you are acting like, if it's the person's reaction to who you think you are, and your reaction to the happiness that you think you have accumulated in this fictitious persona that you have accumulated your life into. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. I need to sit through that one, because that one was hot. Yeah, actually, I kind of need to write that down. Then damn, I don't know how. Hold on, I might have to draw a little picture. So you got you, and then F U in a bubble. Perfect. Here's my little diagram. Let me adjust this here for you. Now, you got you here, right? Okay, you guys see me? Are we in this together? So you've got you here, right? And you've got them. This counts as whoever is them in the scenario. Okay. Oh my God, what are you doing? So you got you here, the fake you in this bubble. Now, when you have a fake you, that is who they or them is going to see. Now, if the F here stands for fake or a fictitious or fraudulent, facade, fondle, no, then whoever you are may or may not react to the things that the fake you is going to react to, because that's not you. That's not you, and that's not who they see. They don't see you. So this person, whoever them ass is probably not going to even fuck with you once they find out that this is not you. You know what I'm saying? If you are not happy with who you are, then this becomes a two-time job, basically. Because now you have to maintain this person that they are who, basically building a relationship with, and you have to keep this person in a constructive, progressive mindset because of the fact that this person exists in somebody else's mind. Now, you can also tie in a little bit of traits between the two of you, just so that it seems a little familiar and you can kind of synchronize the flow between the two. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you are not being truthfully you, then you have to maintain the fake you's relationship, and you might have to keep you, the true you, away from them, because this might be a relationship based on what they see in this fake you. This might be a completely different person than who you truly are, which is mostly the case in most scenarios, which is why once this connection right here tries to be swayed this way up into the you, that's when it falls apart, because you've already gotten this person accustomed to who they think you are, and now all of a sudden you're basically telling them everything that you know about me is not necessarily a lie, but mostly. And now you're gonna have to learn an entirely different person, regardless of how you feel about me in whatever shape or form, because of the fact that we are invested this far into this story together, that anything that I throw at you now, you're either gonna have to take and run with or run. Most cases, the first 2 red flags after you telling somebody that this person that they've accumulated any kind of feeling or relationship with is not necessarily a real person, that takes a lot, because and it goes into this whole concept some people have is you fell in love with the thought of me. Now, you can't necessarily fall in love with the thought of someone and that be your fault. Someone's told me that before, and it never really made sense to me. It still kind of doesn't make sense to me. If I fell in love with the thought of you, or if I was infatuated with the thought of you, then that means that the person that you made me think you were is who I felt for, or who I had feelings for, or who I was attached to. That's not my fault, and I don't feel like I should be blamed, or whoever should be blamed, for feeling that way, or even leaving. Now, it would be kind of petty for the person whom was the fictitious persona to basically run away. But at the same time, you're allowed to do that because of the fact that You need to be you for you. Fuck them and them. You need to be you for you so that no matter who comes into your life, it could be a cat. This cat is gonna run up on you and be like, yo, this nigga know how to pet. He done petted all my spots. And I love it. I don't know how he know all my spots. But yes, we finna get in there. But you need to be you for every situation. Every single situation. Jobs, school, in public. Because if you're not you, and if you're not happy with you, that even goes into a different tip, because even if you're not happy with you, you still gotta be you, because you being you could attract someone that helps you learn how to love who you are. That's pretty simple, and I kind of think that's self-explanatory at the same time, because if everybody loves themselves, I don't care what you say about whatever you have going on in your life, everybody loves themselves, because at the end of the day, you make every conscious effort to do something a day in chase of your dreams. And your dreams are ultimately to make you happy. So you know who you are, and you know what you know who you are, and you know what you want in life, and you know what's gonna make you happy. You know who you are, and you love yourself, because if you didn't love yourself, you wouldn't have those things. And even if you don't know who you are and you're not happy with who you are, as long as you know what you love to do and you're chasing that dream of doing it, then you know mostly who you are, and you know who you truly genuinely are. You might just be hiding it from yourself because it might not be who you want to be, but at the end of the day, we all still work towards our dream jobs and our dreams of doing what we want to make us happy. Everybody wants to be happy. And if you sit back and reflect on the things that you do to chase your own happiness and or to make your own happiness, then you will start to learn about yourself. You will really start to learn about yourself. I think the key to learning about yourself and being happy with yourself is learning how to initially understand, secondly translate, and thirdly cope with what comes out of here. If you can't understand, translate, and cope with what happens in here, up here,